viewers. Today in this session we will be talking about the secondary structures of nucleic acids. We will be seeing that how secondary structures are formed and what are the different types of secondary structures. Till now, what we have seen? If you remember, then we have seen or talked about the primary structure of DNA. What is the primary structure? It is a linear polymer of nucleotides which are joined to each other by means of strong covalent bonds called phosphodiester bonds. The polynucleotide chain has a polarity at its 5' and as well as at its 3' end. It contains a phosphate group present at the 5' end and a hydroxyl group present at the 3' end. This session will be dedicated to the secondary structures of nucleic acids like both DNA and RNA. What are the different conformations of nucleic acid, or rather of the secondary structure of nucleic acid? Why are they formed and how are they formed? Another important point is what is the function of these secondary structures of nucleic acid. So let's see. So this is the first slide which shows a musical note. What is a musical note? So here if we look, it contains certain scriptures, or we can say certain structures. On close examination of these structures, it shows a structure very similar to a DNA secondary structure. That is, it is showing a helical structure. Now what does it show? We know that the musical note always contains or stores the musical rhythm in it, as well as, so this can be compared with the bases present in the secondary structure of DNA which codes for the musical rhythm of life. Due to this genetic information stored in the secondary structure of DNA, it codes for the musical rhythm as well as for the diverse forms of life. Thus, it can be very wisely said that DNA is also a melody for the eye of the intellect with not a note wasted. Any other biological macromolecules such as protein, DNA also exhibits 4 levels of organization. That is, it has primary, secondary, tertiary and a quaternary structure. Now all these structures are very important. Why? Because the malformation or improper formation or misfolding of the primary structure can lead to erroneous secondary structure, and which results in the development of diseases. Thus these structures are very important for any biological macromolecule to carry out the biological functions properly. Moving to the next slide is, it shows what a helix is. Helix is in the form of a helix. Now, if we visit church, we often find a spiral staircase like this shown in the figure, as we can see here. Now, what does it show? It shows a spiral staircase, or rather a helix formation, or rather the helices formation. Now, why it is important? The helices formation is not only a common architectural property or a phenomenon, but is also seen in the biological macromolecules like DNA and protein. Formation of helices tends to bring together the intermolecular forces which are distributed at regular intervals. Thus, the formation of helices plays a very important role in the stabilization of secondary structure of both DNA and protein. So, knowing about the helices, now move to the secondary structure of nucleic acid as shown in this diagram. Now, what do we see? We see that the secondary structure of nucleic acid, commonly known as the DNA double helix, consists of 2 polynucleotide strands. The 2 polynucleotide strands are wound around a common helix axis to form a structure that resembles a spiral staircase. Moreover, the spiral staircase, or rather in this case the DNA double helix, consists of 2 main parts. The hydrophilic sugar phosphate backbone, being hydrophilic in nature, is present on the exterior of the DNA double helix, whereas the bases, being hydrophobic in nature, are present in the center of the DNA double helix. Thus, it creates or contributes to the stability of the secondary structure of DNA. there are certain key features of this DNA double helix. What are they? That is, they consist of 2 polynucleotide chains which are wound around each other to form a right-handed double helix. The bases found in them are complementary to each other, that is always an adenine pairs with thymine and a guanine base pairs with cytosine. The 2 polynucleotide chains are antiparallel in nature with opposite polarity. There are 10 nucleotides per turn of the helix. Apart from these key features, there are other structural parameters also of this secondary structure of DNA. That is, the diameter of the DNA double helix is 20 angstrom in length. Then there are 2 grooves present on this secondary structure, the major and the minor groove. The width of the major groove is 22 angstrom. The width of the minor groove is 12 angstrom. The complete turn of the helix, which is also known as the pitch of the helix, the length of which is 34 angstrom. The difference between the 2 successive base pairs is 3.4 angstrom. So all of these parameters are fixed in nature for the secondary structure of DNA. Why is it so? So this then, or the next few slides, will explain the structural properties of this DNA secondary structure. So first let us start with the diameter. The diameter of the DNA double helix is uniform, means it is of fixed diameter throughout the length of the DNA double helix, that it is 20 angstrom in length. Now, if we measure the distance between the C1 prime carbon atoms of deoxyribose moieties of adenine thymine and guanine cytosine, it always remains the same. It measures about 1.11 nanometer in length. This is because we always know that for the proper formation of hydrogen bonds, an adenine always base pairs with thymine and a guanine always base pairs with cytosine. Thus, a purine always base pair with a pyrimidine and a pyrimidine with a purine. So, making it uniform throughout the diameter. Had a purine base paired with a purine or a pyrimidine base paired with a pyrimidine, this would not have been the case. Moving further on, did you know this? That the bases are not exactly perpendicular to the helix axis. Rather, they are rotated with respect to the helix axis by an angle of 36 degree, which is known as the mean rotation of the bases. Due to the mean rotation of the bases, the helical axis or the DNA double helix can accommodate 10 base pairs per turn of the helix. Another important feature is propeller twist. Propeller twist allows greater overlap between the successive base pairs and reduces the area of contact between the hydrophobic base and water, and thereby stabilizing the secondary structure of DNA. Due to the presence of propeller twist, as we can see in this diagram, there is a twisting of hydrogen bonds. So all this contributes to the stability of the secondary structure of DNA. The next is, it's a very common question is that when we draw DNA double helix, we always give it a helical twist. Why the DNA double helix is helical in nature? If you look at this diagram, we find that had the bases been perpendicular to the helical axis, then water would have gained access between the base pair and would have formed an unfavorable condition. Now, due to the presence of hydrophobic bases, non-covalent interaction increases, and this leads to strong hydrophobicity within the core of the double helix. In order to promote strong hydrogen bond between the complementary bases, the sugar phosphate backbones gets twisted, and this leads to helical nature of DNA double helix. Now let's talk about something different, that is, what are grooves? The grooves of DNA is because the DNA, being double helical in nature, forms 2 kinds of grooves of unequal sizes, the major and the minor groove. Now, due to the groove formation is nothing but it is a simple consequence of the geometry of the base pair. The glycosidic bond holding the base pair are not directly across the helix from each other, or the sugar phosphate backbone are not equally placed along the helix axis, creating a major and a minor groove. Now, what biological roles do these grooves play? These grooves, as we can see in this diagram, especially the major groove, is rich in chemical information. The edges of the base pair are exposed in both major and minor groove, creating a pattern of hydrogen bond donors, acceptors, van der Waals surfaces, and thereby helps in identification of the base pair. If we look at this diagram, we can read the pattern present in the major groove, that is, it's abbreviated as ADAM, in comparison to the minor groove, which reads the same in both the cases, that is AHA. Here A stands for hydrogen bond acceptor, D stands for hydrogen bond donor, again A stands for acceptor, and M stands for methyl group. Now, due to the difference in the pattern, in the major groove site, we can differentiate whether it is an AT base pair or a TA base pair. Most of the DNA binding proteins bind to the major groove because it is rich in chemical information and it can read the base pair without opening and distorting the DNA double helix. What are sugar puckers? The sugar puckers are the different conformation of sugar molecule. Now, the sugar molecule which is found in nucleic acids are of the ribose type or of the 5-carbon type. The presence of this sugar molecule has two phases, the endophase and the exophase. The endophase is the direction in which the C5 prime carbon atom as well as the C1 prime carbon atom directs. Now, when C2 prime carbon atom faces towards the endo, it is known as C2 prime endo. When it faces C3 prime carbon atom faces towards the endo, it is known as C3 prime endo. Now, these two type of sugar configuration or conformation rather are present in the secondary structures of DNA. Till now, whatever we have discussed about the secondary structure of DNA belongs mainly to the bDNA formed under the normal physiological and humid conditions, or rather under hydrated conditions. Now we are going to talk about two different conformation, that is A and Z DNA, produced depending upon the physical conditions as well as due to the flexible sugar phosphate backbone. So let's start with the A DNA. The A DNA shows a wider and a flatter right-handed double helix than does the B form. Now, this kind of A form of DNA is found when the humid conditions drops to 75%, and it is also found in the endospores of certain gram-positive bacteria like Bacillus and Clostridium, as well as in the active center of DNA polymerase and in the catalytic center or cleavage center of topoisomerase II. So, this all shows the presence of A DNA. One of the most striking feature of this A DNA, as seen in this diagram, is the plane of its bases are tilted 20 degrees with respect to the helix axis, and it contains a deeper major groove and a shallower minor groove. As well as it shows the presence of a hole of 0.3 nanometer which runs through the center of the helix. Let's move to the next configuration, that is the Z DNA. The Z DNA, as the name suggests, it refers to the zigzag DNA, and when compared to the B form, it shows a linear or a longer and a thinner left-handed DNA double helix. It was first discovered by Alexander Rich, and he studied the secondary structural folding pattern of a polynucleotide containing alternating purine and pyrimidine sequences. He found that the DNA folding did not take the right-handed but form a left-handed zigzag secondary structure. He named it as Z-DNA. Now, why it is formed? If we look at this diagram, we can see that since the guanine can take up both anti and syn conformation, in Z-DNA it takes up the syn conformation, and since the cytosine has to be remain hydrogen bonded with guanine, the cytosine takes up, or the cytosine cannot take your syn conformation. Now, as a result, the whole of the cytosine nucleoside, it flips 180 degrees in order to remain hydrogen bonded with the syn-guanosine, and as a result, there is a folding of the phosphodiester backbone. This diagram exclusively shows the switch from the B to Z. We can see here that certain segments of B can switch to Z. Now, as a result, what is happening? Due to the switching of these to the Z DNA, it is causing the folding of the sugar phosphate backbone, as well as due to the presence of the syn-guanosine, it contributes to the left-handed nature of the Z DNA. The presence of the syn-guanosine also changes the sugar pucker from sugar pucker. Now, in normal case, the bDNA contains the C2' endo sugar pucker, whereas the presence of syn-guanosine promotes the formation of C3' endo. So, as a result, there is a change in the sugar pucker which also contributes to the left-handedness of the zDNA. Another distinguishing feature which promotes the switch from B to Z DNA is the presence of 5-methylcytosine. The presence of 5-methylcytosine promotes the formation of Z DNA as a methyl group produces a stabilization effect or stabilizing effect on the Z DNA. Another distinguishing feature is the zDNA consists of dinucleotide, since the alternating nucleotide here assumes different conformations with respect to the mononucleotide found in A and B DNA. So, let us now enumerate the differences. The ABZ DNA, as we have told you, the B DNA is a normal DNA, whereas the A DNA is the wider, flatter, right-handed DNA double helix. Z DNA is the left-handed, zigzag, longer, thinner DNA double helix. So, these three distinguishing features allow it to distinguish. Besides this, there are other structural features which helps to distinguish between the A, B and Z DNA. Let us see what are they. So, the diameter of A DNA is 26 angstrom, B DNA is 20 angstrom, Z DNA is 18 angstrom. Base pairs per helical turn is 11.6 in A DNA, 10 in B DNA, 12 in Z DNA, making it to 6 dimers. Helical twist per base pair is 31 degree in A DNA, 36 degree in B DNA, 9 degree for pyrimidine-purine steps, 51 degree for purine-pyrimidine steps. Helical pitch, or which is also known as the length of one complete turn of the helix, is 34 angstrom in case of both A and B DNA, whereas 44 angstrom in case of Z DNA. The difference between two base pair is 2.9 angstrom in A DNA, 3.4 angstrom in B DNA and 7.4 angstrom per dimer in Z DNA. Apart from this, there is the change in sugar pucker. Now, A DNA consists of C3' endo sugar pucker, B DNA consists of C2' endo, whereas Z DNA C2' endo for pyrimidines, C3' endo for purines. The glycosidic bond type, in A DNA it is anti, B DNA anti. In Z DNA it is syn for guanosine, anti for pyrimidines. So, these are the distinguishing features of A, B and Z DNA which allows it to differentiate between the three. Let's say something about RNA. We should do some justice to RNA as well. So, what is RNA? So, the RNA now is mainly are single-stranded. Single-stranded RNA lacks the base effects of paired strand, and as a result they exhibit less common secondary structure. In this diagram, as we can see, that the polynucleotide chain or the primary structure is a polynucleotide chain. There are complementary sequences present in the polynucleotide chain which folds to form a stem loop-like structure. The stem loop-like structure of the hairpin structure plays an important role in physiology or in cellular process. It helps in regulation of gene expression, and it also is an important structural motif of secondary structure of RNA. Apart from this hairpin, there are other secondary structural motifs as the bulge loop, internal loop, multi-branch junctions, then we have the stem loop. So, all of these are formed by the folding of the primary structure and bringing in close the complementary sequences present in the single-strand RNA. Let us see this diagram. This diagram shows the primary structure of tRNA which folds to form the secondary structure of tRNA. The secondary structure of tRNA, commonly known as the clover leaf model because it resembles the clover leaf. On close examination, we find the secondary structural motifs such as the stem loop, multi-branch junctions as the important components of this secondary structure. The presence of these kind of structures plays an important role in functioning of tRNA. So, what we have learnt, both DNA and RNA forms a wide variety of secondary structure formed by the folding of the primary structure. The different features of the secondary structure of DNA are fixed due to the presence of the stereochemical and geometric consequences. The different conformations of DNA are possible, like A, B, and Z DNA, due to the flexible sugar phosphate backbone. The A, B, and Z DNA are also produced under different set of physical and different set of nucleobases composition. The RNA contains less common secondary structures than DNA, and the most common secondary structures are the hairpin, stem loop, multi-branch junctions, bulge loop, internal loop, etc. All these secondary structures are required for the proper functioning of the nucleic acids to carry out their daily cellular life.